but also talent going in to figure out other clever ways to do proof of work that may not be as competition intensive and may not cause these kinds of bottlenecks. But that is certainly a serious issue as the technology is evolving and as more users begin. But scale doesn't have to be 1 million people, right? Scale could be 20 other organizations that you might work with, right? So it just depends on how we think about taking it from inside the organization to outside the organization as well. That's another viewer question.
So we're getting a lot of questions. Hopefully we have time for a couple of more.
Sure.
So this one is from Walt, and he said, you talked about how this is the time to be experimenting with finding potential applications of this technology, but where's the opportunity for blockchain entrepreneurs and enthusiasts right now?
Oh, great question. So look, this is, there's a gold rush for blockchain, and the people that get rich are the ones that can build the tools. So again, if you think about the world of TCP/IP, another foundational technology, the initial set of places where people and entrepreneurs made a massive impact was in building tools. So the Ciscos of the world, the Novells of the world, even the Microsofts of the world started to build tools. So tool building is going to be a big place, I think, in the present time, where helping organizations derive the benefit of blockchain applications is where I think things are going to matter. I do think that there's also the potential for the transformative applications that we talked about in the 2x2, and also the sort of the substitution applications that we talked about as being relevant and important, but those are going to be high variance, high risk. But that's entrepreneurship, right? You want to go out there and make a bet and see if it works. If you think about Amazon, right? Amazon started in the late 90s, right? There were lots of the marketplaces as well, and Amazon survived, but there was an early bet by Bezos, and he was a clever entrepreneur that made it work, substituted the face-to-face retail store to an e-commerce site. And I wish I'd bought Amazon stock when I was buying books from Amazon in the late 90s. And so certainly I think that the other parts of the quadrant are exactly where entrepreneurs are going to be successful beyond just building tools, but that's going to be a high variance strategy, but that's what entrepreneurship is all about. Okay, one more question?
Yes, so earlier you talked about initially being a skeptic of some blockchain hype. Can you talk about what people should continue to be skeptical of? What kind of hype about blockchain will probably not pan out? Where should people focus their attention?
Okay, that's a great question. So my skepticism was that this was going to usher in world peace and democracy, and that we're all going to become free agents living off the mining blockchain transactions. And like most things, what happens is that we overestimate the impact of technology in the short term and underestimate its impact in the long term. And so what I would sort of say is, if somebody is promising you a revolutionary approach to the world, I would be highly skeptical. What I would sort of say is be practical, figure out the applications that apply to you, your business, your industry, and work on those. Let the entrepreneurs go crazy and experiment, but they have a high tolerance for risk. But for most of us in most normal organizations, what we want to think about is, how does this help me solve my particular problem today, right? What can I do now with this technology that I was not able to do before, and then work on those things. But if you are an entrepreneur, you love technology, you love sort of pushing the frontiers, then I would go all into blockchain and figure something out, and we hope that you do. Okay, so I'm going to now wrap up. So thank you again for taking the time to spend with me talking about blockchain. And as we started, the thing to remember is blockchain is just like everything else we've been seeing on the internet. It's a distributed peer-to-peer technology that allows us now to do transactions amongst parties and keep a record of that transaction open and available for all others to see, and for this to be irreversible. This view of the ledger, of a distributed hyper ledger in the world, is revolutionary in the sense that since the days of commerce, since the days that we started keeping track of transactions, the transaction records were always private. Now we're going to make them open and public. That reduces the cost of transactions that take place, and because the technology is inherently digital, we can build in a whole lot of programmability into the technology itself. And what we're seeing is that just as TCP/IP, the foundation of the internet, was a foundational technology, blockchain is also a foundational technology, but it's a foundational technology for transactions, for the lifeblood of most organizations. And the trick is going to be for us to figure out the applications that we can now start to build on top of this technology. Thanks very much, and I look forward to seeing you online somewhere. Bye-bye.